Hello there, welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Pacifist. I know it's been a while, some of you are probably interested in another modded episode, but you know how I love to disappoint. I got a few things planned for today, got a few things up my sleeve that I want to check out, but first of all, this is our creeper exclusive farm that we built last episode, all that time ago, where there's only spaces available for creepers to spawn. Minecart picks them up with the help of a little boat to increase the hitbox, and then it drops them off for processing. This thing's caused me nothing but headaches to try and fix and get right because these minecart things kept on breaking. They were the bane of my existence, but I think they're working now. This side here I've spruced up and I haven't had any problems for quite a while. So, you know, I think that's fixed basically. I think this design is fixed. This side, however, is going to have to be scrapped and redone because, this is me being a bit optimistic with trying to stack the levels on top of each other without any wriggle room, and I just couldn't get it to work. Can't get a comparator on the bottom drop up. Yeah, okay, they can't stack up. They need an extra layer in between, as we've done here, because this is our fancy boat minecart dispenser thing. When the final cart gets put into the bottom dropper there, it spits out another cart ready to pick up a boat and be on its way. This whole redstone torch tower thing, it just can't work without an extra layer in between. So unfortunately, that means that this is going to have to get dug up, that's going to have to get dug up, and the whole thing's going to get rebuilt again. Oh, I guess I should probably tell you, say what the secret was. Now, I'm sure a more experienced redstoner could have figured this out, but can I sneak in here without getting blown up? Essentially what I did is I just limited the space that the creepers, when they're riding the boats, can get ejected into. The boat comes through carrying a creeper. It triggers this tripwire here, which changes the line. The boat intersects with the lava in the cauldron just there, ejecting the creepers. I've just got a 1 block space right there. I've covered the rest in with glass. That's where the creeper gets ejected. I don't want to mess this thing up. If I bump it, it might mess the boat up. And when the next boat comes down the ramp, this observer's going to send a signal, activate that piston, and push the creeper on its way. Yeah, that's a general idea. As you can tell, this kind of fixed design, much higher than the optimistic design I was going for. But I'll fix this one up, and I reckon 4 levels is probably more than we need. Because this thing, it's producing a solid amount of gunpowder. And then, if we take one of those with us, as I said earlier, I do want to get a few things done today. But before we do anything else, because there is something I've been wanting to play around with for ages, literally years. This playthrough's been going on for a while, and this looks about as good a place as any. It involves some of this stuff. I could probably just use the shovel for this, but that seems a little bit boring. Instead, let's play around with some explosions. I mean, gunpowder is basically free now. Yeah, that's pretty fast. Look, we'll probably have to call it quits there because I don't actually have the shulkers for this, but that took less than 2 minutes and only cost us, what's that, like, I forget how many we started off with, but like 10 TNT to almost fill up a shulker box. That's a win in my book. What we could test, actually, I just wonder, it looks like it's going to stop when we hit this hard sandstone stuff, but I wonder, is it going to blow up these things? Like, do items in the world get blown up? Let's see. We got no sand in our inventory. Let's test that out. And we picked up like 2 stacks. I'm going to say maybe. Actually, a better way to test this. 27 sticks. This is probably a smarter way to test it, actually. 27 sticks. And we get... That's it. And we got 2 back. Definitely some loss there. Some spoilage going on there. That's okay. I'll just have to be a little bit careful how I do this. Jeez, how far does this thing go? I found a mega desert biome here. This thing just goes on forever. All right, but now onto the episode proper. Something I want to start setting up. I want to think long term here. Something to help us get around the world. Flying is very fun and all, but it's, it takes time, takes resources. And if I'm all the way out here in the desert collecting sand and I run out of shulker boxes or something like that, I don't have to fly all the way back home just to grab some more, you know? What's that? Is there sand over there as well? My God. So instead, I was thinking what we need to do is set up little outposts somewhere, like, maybe somewhere here. I might find a better spot later, but maybe somewhere here. This could be our sand quarry. I can already see a bit of Badlands over there. That could be our Badlands or Mesa quarry. And connect it all up to our network in the nether. But not just to walk. I'm thinking rails. What's more fun than flying? Sitting on your ass, putting your feet up while you go make yourself a coffee or something like that. Tell the rail network the destination and it'll get you there with some kind of ticket system. So that's the goal. That said, when I've been finding new destinations in the world, I've been connecting it with a path like this. It's definitely not the safest, but it's a start. And this will be the basis of the rail network. That said, Llama Valley Fortress. That said, minecarts need rails and rails need... I can't look here. And rails need gold, like a lot of gold. An immense amount of gold. Basically 1 gold ingot per powered rail. Llama Valley. Here we are. Powered rail. That's a lot of gold. Some might say a completely unfair amount of gold for players like me who don't have a gold farm and who can't build a gold farm. Now, I should just clarify, when we started this world, I made the decision of playing as a #nice guy and I committed to not hurting any other passive mobs. That means no imprisoning villages, strict vegetarian diet, basically no harming of mobs that don't want to harm me. Zombie piglins, ironically enough, they fall into that category because these guys, they couldn't care less about an ugly frog like me. So yeah, I can't use them in a gold farm. Do you see my conundrum? Now, regular piglins, on the other hand, these guys can get stuffed. Yeah, it's not my fault that no one ever taught them to play nice when they were kids, right? This guy's okay though. And unfortunately you can't make gold farms out of them, so we need to find a creative solution to that problem, as well as a creative solution to get out of here. I'm lost. So that brings us to the question of gold. How are we going to get it? So yeah, I had a crack at kind of mining in here, and in all this space, I only managed to find, or in addition to all this freaking netherrack, I only managed to find basically 1 stack of the nether gold stuff. Now this stuff's pretty good, because you can smelt this up and, I mean, you can break it if you're a sucker, or nighttime, it is nighttime. Oh! Sorry, this area is just not mob protected. And I got to be careful that I don't introduce zombies. Yes, I'm talking about you. Now, this stuff smelts up pretty good, where basically each nether gold ore will give you an ingot, which is far better than, just get the fortune pickaxe out. This guy has been just destroying my farm. If I'm not careful, he'll put a bloody grass block there and let zombies into the villager area and stuff. But anyway, 1 gold ingot if you smelt it, or... Hey, that's not bad. Slightly more than a gold ingot if you fortuned it. Give me another one of those. Is that always the case? 6 that time, okay. So the 2 of those equaled 2 ingots. 18 that time. Give me that. Gotta give me that stuff back. I think it's actually way better to actually mine this up. Anyway, good to know. Should probably check the wiki on that. Maybe you do get more out of smelting. But either way, doesn't matter too much because that's not how we're going to be getting our gold. No, what we are going to do is basically try to hollow out this thing. Because as you can see on the map there, we've got quite a large Badlands area here. Holy crap. Things are looking up. This is amazing, actually. God, I didn't actually realize there's this massive valley here in the middle. All right. Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting to be positioned here at sunset. Crap. didn't bring a bed again. Ooh. That's not cheap. Oh, that ate all our levels. Oh, anyway, jeez. Levels are not easy to come by. That was probably not the most efficient way to do things. But here we are, back in the Badlands. Yeah, let's take a look at this unloading station, shall we? All right, so essentially the idea is we're going to go mining in all these mountains around us. And then we're going to send minecarts back down here, well, chesty minecarts, back down on the main line to get unloaded here at this slightly modified version of a design built by Inspector Talon. Basically what will happen is a cart will be sent back home to unload its contents. Let's just say, for instance, it's got rails in this time. It's going to come along to this rail here. Items get chucked into the water tank and go off down there to be sorted. And the minecart and chest get sent down a different path to this hopper down here. So the cart runs over this detector rail, which powers this powered rail just to push it up the hill. And that goes up here because a soul sand, I think you can also use mud. This is not quite a full block. And because it's not a full block, it's able to think that it's going to connect from this rail to there or something like that. Anyway, try it at home for yourself. It doesn't work if this is a full block, basically. But the minecart tries to snap down there. And as it's coming down, the cart with the chest interacts with this cauldron, which has lava in it. That kind of breaks all the contents and they get dumped into the water stream there. But the cart gets picked up by this hopper. Then we just want to send that up a tower here. So dropper, then dispenser, then another detector rail. Detector rail. Oops. I don't want that to happen. How on earth do you get that to snap? Is this one of those east-west things? This worked perfectly in creative. There we go. I was a bit worried there that I wouldn't be able to get that to work. Anyway, the cart comes up. The amethyst is here because it's not quite a full block. So the cart is able to kind of make that transition through this small gap. Maybe we can see that again in action. And off those things go for sorting. And so while the hopper picks up the minecart, we then want to send it to the dropper dispenser tower here. So let's just do some redstone with an observer facing into it. So cart goes over. That does its thing, and it comes down on this return line. The reason we want to separate these return carts is because there might be like 2 or 3 or 6, however many I can manage to. We'll have to do some stress testing later to see how many we can send through. And yeah, we're just trying to avoid collisions. And the reason why we wanted to do this kind of dump everything method and get the cart back quick is because I don't want to be waiting around for a single hopper speed, which, you know, if you're not aware, it's pretty slow. I don't want to be waiting around for 2 or 3 carts to unload manually just to get my carts back. I want to be able to come here, dump them, and send them back. That said, these hills are kind of further away than I had anticipated when designing this thing. So I think what I'm going to have to do is, oh, hello. Because I think my server's set up to have like a 10 chunk simulation distance. So as soon as the cart goes out of that 10 chunks, it'll stop moving, and yeah, I won't be able to get them back. So let's make sure that guy's out of the way safely first. So what I'll have to do is, I think what I'm going to have to do is chaperone this cart myself and then just kind of build a quick system here to get me off on a different path. I should have the ingredients for that here. So if I set up some tripwires here to trigger when I come through this, or kind of any mob riding a minecart, because the regular cart chests they'll just duck underneath. I believe I should be able to just do that. If I trigger that off, yes, awesome. So then when I come through here, this thing should kind of send me off down the path on the left. Nice. Okay, and yeah, this is just another basic system. The cactus breaks the cart, gets picked up by the hopper. And that kind of travels down here into this another dropper dispenser tower. But whenever it passes through this second hopper, it just sends out a signal with a really strong delay to then shoot it back up. Yeah, let's just look at that again. So nothing too complicated. And I can jump in and just press the button to be back on my way. Oh. Wait for me. And then I come out. Okay. And so since I can chaperone this stuff here, I can kind of just chill out here while the items unload and just probably pick them up while I'm here. And those items for now, look, I haven't set up this as a filter yet. And I'm not sure that I will, to be honest, because it's going to dump, a couple chests worth of items all in one go. And these hoppers just aren't quick enough to pick all that up. So, 3 chests worth of content will just be kind of cycling around here, give those hoppers a chance to clear what they have. And this might not be enough. We'll have to do some testing first. I've got it set up for filters just so I know how, just in case we want to expand it like that. But we have, I think there's about 7 different types of terracotta in these hills. Then there's the gold that we want. And then there's stone and andesite and diorite and all that kind of stuff. But we'll see. We'll test that out. We can move this around and maybe decorate it at some point. But that all depends really on how successful this whole endeavor is. And yeah, the jury's still out on that. Well, this may just be a flop after all. But if we stick with it, maybe I'm thinking we could build like a nice big, I don't know, train carriage here to hold all this stuff, or even like a spaghetti western style train station of some type. But anyway, that's enough talking. There's gold in them there hills and it's got my name on it. So let's get digging. It just dawned on me. I don't think I've actually discussed why we're here in the Badlands looking for gold. Yeah, like what's the point of doing this here and not any other part of the world? Ignore all this for a second. Well, that's because, and maybe I'll bring that ore distribution thing up on the screen now. That's because there's just more gold ore generated in the Badlands. Anywhere between Y32 and Y255, there's quite a lot of gold that generates here in the Badlands. Way more than you normally get. And in fact, gold in other biomes has a higher chance of generating at around -16. So there you have to deal with deep slate and things take longer, more wear and tear on your tools. So unless you prefer to do it in the nether, the Badlands will definitely be your best bet. We'll get to this in a second. Let's actually look at the results from our scientific mining session. So first of all, I started up here at, what are we at? Above Y100. I spent half an hour up here just digging out this area manually with a pickaxe. It was a bit of an ordeal. And this is what we have to show for it. No gold. A full chest of blocks, which I guess we can use for building and stuff, but there wasn't any gold mixed in amongst all this terracotta stuff, which I guess makes sense because I think ore generation works by replacing stone blocks or deep slate blocks with the ore variant. So this one was a fail. It's way too high. Then I came down to do a similar kind of thing down here, just digging out blocks. That took a while, another half hour on that. And this is what we have to show for it. A whole bunch of cobble. Not even 2 stacks of gold, but, some other stuff, which is nice. But for half an hour's worth of work, that ain't it. That's not worth your time. Then I got a little fancy with it and thought, we have all that TNT. Let's put it to use. And I started strip mining these tunnels out and, just running back and forth and picking up the gold or other ore on my way back. That was by far more productive. And in addition to filling up with cobble, we got almost 4 stacks of gold. And because that was the first time I did it, I was still kind of learning the ropes. I reckon we could easily get next time 4 stacks of gold in the same time. So that's like a stack of gold every 7.5 minutes or so. Yeah. Oh, and finally, I just thought I'd try a little bit of caving because there was this this kind of abandoned mine shaft that I came across. Small mine shaft. I didn't have a full 30 minutes for it, but in 8 minutes, I managed to get 65 gold. So I'm thinking a combination between TNT in the place and exploring the caves that you come across is probably your best bet. And that is what we'll be doing. All right, so let's claim this stuff and then we'll head off and I'll show you the loading station. All right, so here's the plan. I'll keep strip mining this area out with TNT and exploring any caves that we find. Then we drop all the items into the chute like this. Like so. That stuff just kind of joins this water stream here, and that kind of gets deposited into this stream to get picked up by these hoppers, and that goes double hopper speed into these minecart with chests. And it looks like I should probably do the whole looping thing here as well, because these guys are backlogged. Although if I dump the product of our mining a bit more regularly, not all at once like I just did, this isn't going to be a problem. I got a button here that's going to send these carts off on their way by just activating the powered rails, but we need to space them out a little bit just so they're not all kind of cramping up at the unloading station down there at the same time. And to do that, I've just got a basic delay. A delay of 16 ticks between when the first chest departs and the second, and then another 16 ticks for the third chest. I've just put this here now for kind of space considerations, but I'm considering maybe we don't want to share the same line to and from the bulk storage. Maybe we do want to have a return line, and then I could figure out some way to kind of to jam the minecart chests back into these slots. And, you know, we could just send these things off when they're full, and we wouldn't really have to be involved at all. So maybe that's the way to do things, but for now, let's just test this out and see how we go. Get my trusty minecart. They're probably full enough. Send them off on their way, and then go myself. And then send myself along. Oh no! Why are these things so slow? I'm pushing it, aren't I? Bug testing. Okay, we broke the system. We'll test in production, he said. All right, I think I've sussed it out. So for some reason, I go much faster than the carts with stuff in them. So we're full again. We're full again. So maybe I can just try to like beat the rush, you know? So I sit in here, can't hit the button. All right, I think I've sussed it out. I've also fixed, there was a junction down there that wasn't working properly. So hopefully this works. Probably not. Oh, it's right up my ass, isn't it? Damn it, this thing came with me. Okay, well that guy works. That guy works. There go our items. Yeah, they're just going to loop around and start storing in this thing. Awesome. Clearly some kinks to iron out in the system, but with just a little bit of tweaking, we should be able to get it all worked out. Unfortunately, I don't really have a... Unfortunately, I don't really have a returns policy right now. We just have to add things manually back in, and we've lost a cart, but you know, that's just a matter of subtle timing. A few ticks here and there, but overall, that works pretty good. All right, so I'm going to spend a little bit of time, see how much damage we can do with all this TNT. Give our gold account and see if this whole thing was worth it. All right, I think we've probably spent way too long down in those mines, and I needed to come out and get in the real world and touch some grass, if you know what I mean. So that's exactly what I did. And I came over here and just did a little bit of landscaping around here to make room for another auto crop farm thingy. In fact, this will be our final one. It's been a while, so maybe just a quick refresher. Over here, we have the wheat collective. Wheat is neat, but please wipe your feet. Maybe you guys should close the door. These guys just basically mine whenever they want, whenever they feel like it, at a few of these stations. And underneath us here, maybe I can just head down there. I've just got an auto collection crop system set up down here, which sends a minecart out every couple of minutes or so, and then drops that stuff, down into a water canal, which comes along these water paths into some storage we've got set up right underneath the windmill. That's kind of right here, and then that gets, auto sorted. Well, if I can get out of here. We've also got one of those set up for the carrot crew or something. I don't know what their official title is. Over here, where Yeah, in fact, where do these extra villagers come from? There's only 3 beds in there, so there shouldn't be 5. There shouldn't be any unemployed villagers here, but whatever. Yeah, they work, and because their inventories are full of carrots, any excess carrots that they drop just get picked up. Well, they wait in the ground to get picked up by the cart underneath. We've built one for the beet people over here, the beet box. Those guys got off lucky. They've got no farming to do because I don't really have much need for beets other than maybe red dye, and if I wanted, I could just harvest it manually. Those guys run the nightclub to entertain all the other villagers in the valley. Well, we're missing one, and that is the potato people. So I elevated this land a little bit because I figured this is the least utilized spot we have in the valley. So why not put a building here? Why not tick off another crop farm and, yeah, get one step closer to kind of finishing this game. Oh, here comes the rain. And before we get started, this is the outcome of all that mining we did today in the Badlands. It's about another 680 odd powered rails, which is pretty good. And of course, heaps of copper, heaps of coal. But our primary purpose is the gold, so I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so let's have a quick snooze when we finally can and get to building this thing. All right, so as I build this thing, maybe this is a good time for me to ask you guys' opinion on something, because I'm having a bit of a morality crisis of sorts. Now you're probably wondering, Kimbles, why didn't you just put a beacon down so you get the haste effect and you could have mined up all the stuff in that Badlands super quick? Well, the morality crisis part of it all is, do you think the Wither should be considered a passive mob for the purposes of this playthrough? Like we've already established, it's already canon that the Ender Dragon is a no-go zone, only really attacking me to defend itself, yada yada. And I'm not too sure what the distinction would be with the Wither. Like this would be a mob that I'm spawning in just to kill? That seems a bit weird. But then again, that's exactly what we're doing down in our creeper farm. We've set the conditions to spawn in specific mobs to kill. Is it the same with the Wither? I don't know. That's a bit of a tough one. Would it make any difference if I spawned in the Wither and had Iron Golems kill it? Maybe? Or is that just looking for loopholes? Which brings me to another point. I just don't get why there's not haste potions in the game. Like we've got potions for strength, for speed, for health, you know, for height jump and slow falling and all this stuff. Wouldn't it be a good idea to have a potion that lets you mine faster, just for at least for a short time? And even in a regular kind of playthrough, that would spare people having to set up a beacon to get that insta-mine effect. So anyway, food for thought. Let me know your opinion if you have one. And if anyone has like a convincing moral argument as to why it'd be okay to kill the Wither, I'm all ears. I would love a beacon. I just need a reason. Do you want to get through? There you go. Yes, I've also just cordoned this area off so that basically so mobs can't get in. Maybe a long-term solution would be to tear down all these fences and just properly like light all this area up, but not with torches. You know, I don't really want torch spam everywhere. That's just a temporary solution. So yeah, we'll probably in the future, I'll look at getting rid of them. But you know how villagers are, they tend to walk off cliffs or get stuck into like jump cycles where they damage themselves until they die because they're not the brightest. But anyway, here we are at the house. Sounds like we got some residents already. Hello there. Oh, they're pretty flowers. Look, just give me the damn flower. So this is a house built for 4, as you can see, but we've only got 2 zombie villagers so far. And while they're curing up, maybe I can give you the tour. Oh yeah, we've got to populate our towns. We have to actually catch zombie villagers and cure them, because villager breeding, that's not very pacifist. Yeah, so this is the place. As you can tell, there's probably something's going on here with this split. That side's all dirty. This side's all pristine. We kind of use familiar blocks, you know, stone, copper, spruce, kind of in theme with the rest of the buildings here in the valley. There was probably an argument that I could have started to use those terracotta blocks, but I actually designed this thing probably about 12 months ago. And yeah, it's been a busy episode. Didn't have too much time to work on a whole new design, so this is what we got. But also, this thing comes with some lore. As you saw on the way in, we've got an entrance, and then some punks have said, no, this is the real entrance. So the lore on this place is we've got a real divide in the potato farming community. around the lines of whether or not rotten potatoes have any value. And these guys have been rivaling for generations. There's the guys who are like, yes, rotten potatoes have value. Don't just chuck them in the bin. And then these guys who like their potatoes all washed and peeled and not a scrap of dirt on there, and definitely not any of the rotten kind. These fanatics, these Puritans here on the clean, peeled, washed potato side, they just don't see any value in the rotten stuff. But the rotten guys think, oh, surely there's at least some value in rotten potatoes. Maybe one day Minecraft will get like a biomass generator and you can get yourself some free FE out of it or something. But anyway, oh, hello. Good time in. Hello, guys. F3B. Bit of law never hurt nobody. Choose your beds. Okay, I'm going to have to remove these stations. I clearly forgot that they were workstations. All right, they'll come out and get attracted to the composters we've got underneath these shroom lights. Should hopefully be able to go about their business without getting interfered with by any zombies. Cool. Oh yeah, hopefully they'll start to farm around their stations, and I'll just set up like an underground collection minecart thing in between episodes. The inventories are actually empty right now, so... Oh, don't take that. Jeez. So yeah, it'll take a while before we actually see any drops, but I can probably help give them a jump start on that. There you go, guys. Get to work. I think they've got 7 stacks in their inventory, so yeah, they'll fill up eventually, and everything else they pick up will just go straight to us. All right. That's all the time we've got for today. Thanks so much for sticking around. If you'd like to see more of this vanilla playthrough, let me know. We've almost finished setting things up here in Llama Valley, but I've got some plans for things to do in a few other areas, which I'd really like to see those plans through. So apologies in advance if it takes a while. Stay being who you are, but if you meet anyone better, be them. All right, see you later. That's the sign off. I'm sticking with it. Bye.